Plebby16.
What's up, everybody? Mr. fucking YouTube here for the Balding Plebs, and today we are talking initial impressions of Ghost of Tsushima. This is a highly anticipated PS4 exclusive that we got our hands on, and we've been playing it pretty heavy since it came out. So let's get into this and let's discuss Ghost of Tsushima. Now, I'm only on the first area and only got about 10 hours on the game, so I'm not going to be able to speak to story or anything like that right now. But basically, you're a samurai, you're getting invaded by the Mongols, they use some underhanded tactics to kick your ass, and you need to kind of adjust the samurai way, so to speak, in order to take the fight to them and defend your homeland. That's basically what you're doing here. And this is an open world game. And I want to tell you this right now. This is the best, most beautiful open world I have ever played in. I absolutely adore the environment in this game. And it is one of the crowning achievements on the PS4 as far as game world and beauty goes. One of the best parts of this game, much like in Red Dead Redemption 2, is just getting on your horse and riding. It is so beautiful, peaceful, and relaxing. I love riding from area to area. It's really, really nice. One of the other major things that this game does right, outside of the actual technical combat and all that other stuff, is the attention to quality of life in this game is some of the best I have ever seen in a PS4 exclusive. There are no load times in this game. It's crazy. When I turn on my PS4 from sleep mode and I go to continue, I will literally load into this game before I can read the first tip that it puts on the screen. It's incredible to me. You spend very little time waiting. If you die, you go back to your little checkpoint, which is basically before the battle, so to speak, and you load right back in and you're ready to go again. So I really appreciate that in a big game like this, where you have very low load times. You can fast travel everywhere. Now, I like riding there because it's so beautiful. It's such a great piece of scenery and art to actually be able to ride across this incredible recreation of Tsushima. But you can literally fast travel anywhere. So when you are wanting to kind of make some progress on the missions, you can look at your map, see the closest place that you had come across that's closest to the mission, hit triangle, you fast travel there, boom, load it up, get the horse, hit the wind, and you're there. So this game has a really snappy pace as far as being able to move forward with it when you're ready to, which is really awesome, and I like that a lot. You guys know that I'm kind of a completionist gamer, and I look for quality of life things in games. When I'm wanting to kind of tick things off my task list, and usually when I'm playing a game, I have a kind of a mental checklist of what I want to get done in a gaming session based on how much time I have to play. And being very busy, I don't always have a 6-hour game session to be able to do. Sometimes I can only play for an hour at a time. And it's nice to not have to do a bunch of tedious, rote, sort of monotony in order to get from quest to quest or place to place. And I really appreciate it when game developers take the time to respect a player's time and investment in their game. And this game, and Sucker Punch, has done a phenomenal job of that. As we mentioned, or as I might have kind of glossed over, but there's very forgiving checkpoint system in this game. I got into one battle kind of early on in my playthrough where I was really struggling with it. I don't think I had any upgrades, and I think I might have got a little bit over my head on what I was able to handle at the time. And so I failed about 6-8 times on it. But when you fail, you load right back to the start, and you just get to go again. It's like, okay, hey, this hasn't been working. Maybe I try going from a different side. Maybe I try sneaking a little bit. Maybe I try remembering to use a different stance or changing my armor or whatever it was. And I finally got the better of the guys. But again, forgiving checkpoints. I didn't really lose anything or lose any progress by dying and trying a few times, and so I do appreciate that very much in games. And there's not really a huge drawback to failure when you do these quests. Again, you're just kind of loading back in, and you get another chance at it, and that's good because the actual fighting in this game is so damn much fun. I can't even tell you. There is this whole. There's almost like two games in one, right? It's like they have a ghost part of this game where you can play it pretty stealthily, and that's well and good and everything, but there is just something when I come up to these camps and it shows standoff, which is basically you call out their guy and say, fight me man to man, and then you slash through them, and then you can even take it to another guy when you upgrade the skill. There is something so freaking rewarding about that it is really hard for me to want to play this as the ghost or as a stealthy player. Now, we do use stealth sometimes. I do find myself using stealth sometimes, maybe to try to pick off a couple guys here and there. But there is just something very, very badass about walking up to a camp of guys, calling them out, and saying, fight me one-on-one, and then cutting them down. It is a rush, and it is just an epic way to start a encounter or a battle in this game. And it is one of my favorite mechanics in gaming history, perhaps. There's very few things that I've enjoyed doing in games as much as that. And by that effect, one of the things I look forward to is actually having the samurai fights, right? Switching the stances, knowing my fights, knowing my enemies, hitting that parry, and then cutting them down. The combat in this game is fun as hell, especially as you get going on it. You may have a few struggles early on, like I did. Like I said, I died about 6-8 times on this one encounter. I was getting a little frustrated at first, but as you get a couple charms going, as you get a couple upgrades to your armor, and as you find a few hot springs, get a little bit more health and a little more resolve, and you get some of these different things happening, all of a sudden, you start to be able to really kick some ass. You get a sword upgrade, and all of a sudden it's like, ooh, you're starting to put some hurt on these guys big time. And all of a sudden you start to feel like you can walk into a group of guys, 8 guys, 10 guys, and fight these guys and come out the victor. And it is a bona fide rush. It is some of the best combat I have played in a long time, and I look forward to the fights in this game, and that's something that needs to be stated. I cannot overstate how important that is. I look forward to the fights in this game. I look forward to fighting one-on-one. And then, on top of that, you get into some duels. And let me tell you something, guys. We talk about this a lot. Big fight feels. Okay? Big fight feels with a lot on the line. And these deliver, okay? Holy cow. You want to talk about getting on the edge of your seat, having to have a one-on-one battle against a competent enemy, and no tricks, no nonsense, sword for sword, and just kind of matching them move for move, and having that fight that when you beat them, you feel, holy shit, that was an accomplishment. That was a great, epic battle. And then you get a piece of equipment afterwards, or a reward of equal stature. That's how you create compelling, awesome combat in your game. And this game so far has nailed that for me. And one of the things I look forward to is just getting in there, finding some encounters, and having some fights. And it's great. And then when we can go and have ourselves a one-on-one duel with a real big bad, and then you get kind of a quest out of it, and you kind of learning like a real mythical tale, and it weaves history with an awesome encounter. And it's a great, great interpretation of some of these legends, and it's really fun to play through them. It is the best part of this game so far, by far, is some of these standoffs and duels and things that you're encountering in this game. It's really, really epic and really, really fun. So outside of the combat, guys, what do we have going on? There's tons to do in this open world. You've got fox dens, you've got hot springs, you've got the Torii gates, you've got, tons of missions, you got little roadside encounters, you got some bears you're going to encounter and have to defend against. I mean, it's stuff going on all over the place, and it's cool. Like, you think you're going to this new mission and you're riding down there to find it. All of a sudden, you find a yellow bird, and he's leading you off in another direction, bringing you to, a bamboo strike that you need to do, or a piece of equipment that you can find. And then you find a little fox den, and he leads you to a charm slot upgrade, and you pray at his little fox statue, and it's so neat. The way they've integrated into the world the different things that you can do is the best I've seen. Speaking to that, when you want to find out where you go, you don't watch your mini map up in the corner. You swipe up on your little touchpad, and the wind blows in the direction you need to go. How cool is that? How cool is that? So many times I play these open world games, and I literally play them outside of the combat sequences by staring at the minimap. Red Dead 2, I'm looking at you. Assassin's Creed, I'm looking at you. This game, I'm looking at the world. I'm looking at the scenery, the incredible vistas, the waterfalls. I am in touch with the game world here. Okay? When I want to know where to go, it's a natural sort of connection between the player and the world on how to get to the next area without sort of this gamey system over the top of it. I really, really like it. At very, very first, I was a little bit unsure of it because it was different. But the more you do it, the more you get used to it. You're like, oh, damn. Every game needs to find a way to do this from now on. Every game needs to find a way to integrate getting from point A to point B without making me literally watch a mini-map the entire time. Really neat system. Absolute game changer for open world design on how you get from point A to point B. I love it, and I think they did a phenomenal job with it. So I think on an overall level, this game has managed to kind of capture my attention and kind of capture my desire to come back to it, right? That's always important for me when I get into a big game like this. You're going to sink some time into it. So you want to have that feel that when you leave it, you're thinking about getting back in there. And this game has done a really good job of that for me. Like, when I'm not playing, I'm thinking about playing. And I'm thinking about, okay, we want to make sure we hit that parry. We want to hit a couple slashes. We want to use our super special moves. And we want to cut these guys down. And you're kind of tasting that. Like, you're itching to get back in for some fights. And this game has really done an awesome job of that for me. And integrate that with a phenomenal, interesting world, right? We haven't played, at least I haven't played in a samurai world like this for a long time. We got Sekiro last year, but that was kind of a Souls-like, a little bit more of maybe a mystical take on it. We had Nioh, which was more of a feudal take. So I thought you had a really good, really excellent world here with just the way the scenery is integrated into it and the way that you have the kind of the winds blowing, the waters. I mean, it is just so alive in this world. I just love exploring it, and I can't stress how important that is to this game and to making me want to come back and find more things. Super, super important. Now, not to say the game isn't without some faults. So let's talk about those in case you haven't bought this yet and you're wondering, am I going to like it or not? So probably my biggest concern moving forward, and again, I'm only about 10-12 hours into this, so lots more to go before I can give the final word on it. But a lot of the missions, guys, are speak to this person, track this person, follow this person, fight, right? And they have the structure just seems very much the same. And maybe that's because we're just starting out and they're kind of basic missions, and maybe they're going to expand into some other stuff. But there's a lot of stuff like that right now, where you talk to this person and it's just kind of like, it's like checklist type stuff, right? Talk to her, check it off. She tells you something, follow her, check it off. Sneak up on this guy, check it off. And then they go up to a thing and you're in for a fight, kill him, talk to the other guy, decide his fate. Or, whatever, learn a new piece of information. And it's kind of a little bit repetitive. And it's almost like they put so much effort and time into the actual world design that they forgot, we need variation in missions. Or they figured, hey, we've got the fox dens, the gates, the springs, all this other stuff. Our missions is literally be fight, speak, track, follow, fight, and that'll be enough to carry it. I'm not sure if it'll get me all the way through the game at with that type of a mission structure, but it would have been nice to see a little bit more variety in missions so far, right? And again, it may expand more as we move forward, but just right now I've been doing a lot of missions that follow that structure. So that being said, maybe just because of the way I play the game and because of how excited I am about the standoffs and the combat, the actual stealth portion of the game has not felt that relevant or interesting to me. Where, let's take Assassin's Creed, for example, because this game does seem to draw pretty heavily from that franchise, especially like you look at Assassin's Creed Odyssey or some of the newer Assassin's Creed games. There's quite a bit of similarity here, right? And when you look at how I felt kind of approaching some of these bases and some of these different clusters of enemies in Assassin's Creed, you'd always want to kind of start off with some stealth before you get into the big old, hoorah. This game is a little bit different. And again, maybe it's because the fighting in this game just feels so much better, whereas the actual fighting in Assassin's Creed to me always felt very lame and boring, where this actually feels relatively interesting. I almost always find myself going to the samurai standoffs and fights, right? And rarely using the stealth portion of it, at least so far. Not necessarily a bad thing, by any means. Not necessarily a bad thing. There's somebody out there that say, hey, I always use the stealth. And absolutely, I'm not saying it's bad. It feels like it's more weighted towards the fighting being really where the thought process was put into. There was one camp I did where I literally was standing next to a guy, killed his buddy, and he kept walking by and didn't see me. And so I was like, wow, I can't believe that. So I snuck up on him and killed him too. I'm like, geez, I didn't think I was that invisible. But some of the stealth AI is 50-50. Sometimes I don't know how they can see me, and other times I don't know why they don't see me. So I guess I just decided, you know what, we're going to go in, swords drawn, and play it out that way and see what happens. Now again, this may change as we get different armor sets, different upgrades, and different things like that as we move forward throughout the game. So again, initial impressions here based on what I'm playing, but my initial overall impression here, guys, is very strong and very positive. Mostly because of the excellent beauty of this world and the excellent and fun combat. That's what's really got me hooked right now. We'll see how it continues as we move forward. I think we're going to have a few more live streams. We may even come back with, maybe we'll do a mid-tier or a midway through impressions. Because this does look like it's going to be a longer game, especially if we want to hit a lot of these different places and see what's going on and do most of the content here. We might be looking at 50 plus hours easy on this one. So we got quite a bit to take care of here. But that being said, my initial impression so far, very positive. Very, very positive. I'm probably in that 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 range right now. And we'll kind of see how things kind of develop as we go. But, right now this has been a fun start. And God, I can't wait to get to another one of those big fight feels, a big duel, right? Where we get to, we got a big piece of equipment, a big upgrade on the line, and we got to take down a guy one-on-one. That is what we're looking for. That is the big fight feel that we want in our game, and that's what keeps me coming back for more. So Ghost of Tsushima right now has been an epic start. Really enjoying my time with it. I want you guys to hit me up in the comments. Let me know. I know a lot of you guys out there are playing it right now. A lot of our viewers have been playing it. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Let me know how you're feeling about it. And let me know if I'm on point with what I'm saying here. If you guys, think the opposite. If you think the stealth is the best part of it, maybe the combat's a little off. Every once in a while, there's not a hard lock-on the combat. So sometimes I do find myself swinging into the air and it's kind of one of those sticky lock-ons. But on an overall level, I like it a lot. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Mr. fucking YouTube here, talking Ghost of Tsushima, and we're going to see you right here next time. You're welcome.